kept seeing a car go into the water. All day they've been showing me reruns in my mind of Adventures with Purpose. VP's gonna find her in the Prosser Lake.
We have found Kylie Rodney's vehicle. Again, our search for Kylie at Prosser Creek Reservoir on August 21st at 10.
There are plenty of questions and very few answers after 4 students at the University of Idaho were found murdered in their off-campus house.
It's like if you look at Ted Bundy's eyes and you look at his eyes, they're the same. Maybe a little bit lighter. The one thing that I keep seeing is curls. So I don't know if he has curly hair or wavy hair, and that might be when it's grown out. I think he elongated, like his face might be a little bit longer. There's a reference to a pointier type nose. He honestly looks a lot like Ted Bundy, but like a jacked up Ted Bundy. Like not as handsome. I keep getting like a security guard or a badge. Like a Brian or something like that. It's because they are going to catch him. Because I'm seeing him in an orange jumpsuit. He wasn't as smart as he thought he was. And he's probably going to go to jail for this eventually. I keep getting December.
The name Richard again.
I also get the name Rick. Damn name Allen is coming in again.
Jailed 50-year-old Richard Allen in connection with the double murder. Teen best friends Libby German and Abby Williams went hiking on a trail and never came home.
Done on November 20th, 2019 at 7:14 p.m. Quentin, but I'm seeing trash and I don't.
9:42 Wednesday morning. Quentin Simon's mom told 911 her little boy was gone.
I do keep hearing a trash truck though. Then I keep hearing the trash truck. It's almost, that's one thing I can't get rid of is the twisting of the trash bag. And so then I'm like, well, is he in the trash? Okay. Unfortunately, I hate to say that. I do hear landfill could be the...
New tonight, a heartbreaking search underway in Georgia for a missing toddler. Police are sifting through trash at a landfill for the remains of 20-month-old Quentin Simon.
And I felt like he was going to be found. That was earlier in the day.
3-year-old boy found alive and in good health.
And I said, like, within 3 miles, but I'm not seeing him being hurt, and I'm not seeing someone coming up and getting him.
And I said, were you alone? Yes.
The main 2 things I keep getting is the wooded area and the shed.
Well, to take cover in that shed.
Late into the night to find.
I see him running to the woods. Oh, I keep getting the repeated image of him running to the woods. Okay. So maybe he decided he wanted to go play and then he kind of got lost in the woods. Be within 2 miles. I keep getting a reference to the edge of the woods. And so he's still alive because I'm not using him to get this information.
Right.
Around in the woods like I can't find my way out. I'm stuck. And I said he's in a bush.
Okay. I went across a field of grass. I came up on some woods. Sure enough, I went in the woods and about 100 feet from where I was at. I think he was in some stickers. There's a lot of stickers and all there.
Tonight in our Missing series, a case that we have heard a lot about from our viewers.
He wants to take me down the road to a neighbor's house or something, like another farm. I also hear neighbor. He said he knows this guy. He knows him. And he's a neighbor. I don't know what the friends come in.
Suspect, 58-year-old James Brenner, who also happens to be Dylan's closest neighbor in the remote desert area of Lucin.
Hi guys. So I want to make a quick video explaining something. Let me put this up real quick because I forgot. Depending on what we talk about today. Hope you guys enjoyed the intro. I shortened it up a little bit. Okay. So there we go. I shortened it up a little bit, so hopefully you guys like that one better. It's not changing, so hopefully no one complains about it. It's under 5 minutes. It's just pretty good. So what I wanted to talk about today, and hopefully I can explain this in a way that people will understand, is the autowrites and the interconnects. So, because a lot of people are looking at the Delphi autowrites and they're like, well, that's not Delphi. I've tried to explain in multiple videos and in lives and whatnot how I work. I work differently than anybody else I've ever seen. I don't see other people use interconnects and things like that where they can get past, present, and future, or have similarities and things like that. So my interconnects tend to work due to timing and similarities of the cases. So a lot of the Delphi stuff, if you go back, there's like 10 different auto writes. Now back then when I did my auto writes, I wasn't sure how it worked. I didn't know that I would be pulling in multiple cases. I thought I was just going to be pulling in Delphi. I'm learning all the time, just like you guys. I did not know how my gifts work. And those of you that have ever tried to get your gifts to work or understand them, we all work differently. We all are gifted differently. And sometimes it takes a little bit of a work to understand how things work for you, because how things work for me is not going to be the same as how things work for other people. So, a big thing about all of this is that I can get other cases that are like connected to the time frame or that are similar. So when we look back at Delphi auto writes, now we're seeing that a lot of the stuff is happening that I got back in Delphi. The reason being is that the stuff is happening with Delphi right now. So allegedly the guy's been caught. Allegedly he's, we're going to be seeing the trial. So therefore the stuff is going to be hitting. And I don't know that we'll ever be able to even realize how much is hitting in the Delphi auto writes. But so far, it seems like I've gotten a lot on the Gilligo serial killer and the one in Oregon. Now similarities are, and I feel like that this is now a time for serial killers again, whatever reason that may be. History repeats itself. But if you go to one of my auto writes, I can't remember which one it was, the world events one. So I just started doing world events. I try not to auto write cases anymore unless I really need to do it and I really need to get deep. Now, when I auto write, I get deeper. So I pull in a ton of information. I basically can't control what comes through. So I do try my hardest to focus, but on one thing, which now when I do the world events, it doesn't really matter. I just give whatever they give me. So I don't do readings on specific world events. I just give whatever spirit gives me because there's a timing to everything. So the same thing when we go back into the Delphi auto writes. It has to do with timing and similarities to the cases. So I think the reason why I got attacked so much during Delphi auto writes is because I was digging deep into a lot of dark energies and a lot of dark things. I think I picked up multiple serial killers, multiple cases, past, present, and future. And someone else is the one that made me realize this. I didn't realize that this is how it was going to work. But even in Delphi auto writes, Spirit mentioned to me the lines. So they would take, how cops have the red lines and they go from one case to another, kind of how my intro is. The reason why I put that on there is because that's literally what Spirit showed me, and showed me the connections. So everything is connected. We are all connected. We are all one. Everything seems to have connections. There may be cases with same names. Like, for instance, I have a list, which I'm thinking what to do with that list because I literally have not put it anywhere, but it's just because it's just a list and I don't know if you guys want me to ramble that off, and it changes all the time. I'm adding to it all the time. So I'm not really sure how to do that, but it's I understand that it's kind of confusing. So spirit gives connection. So on that list, as I was saying, there are lots of like names and things, and those names like have hit street names where things have happened, but it's hit street names multiple times. Okay, so that's why I talk about multiple meanings and multiple things. It can hit multiple cases, and that goes with interconnects as well with certain things. So just for examples, because I will use this video and try to do examples to try to explain, and you guys can go back and see yourself. So I've actually posted on the community page a couple of things that we've noticed. So I believe it was Delphi auto write. Delphi auto. I'm gonna look on the community page real quick because I can't remember. I think it was 5. But hold on, just be patient with me for 1 second. I didn't even think to pull this up. So Delphi auto-write 5, I had gotten the word Chester. Okay, and I had gotten blue eyes. The blonde hair isn't really right. So I don't know if I was describing him or I'm describing someone else in this auto-write. But the word Chester. And I do remember getting like ice blue eyes. Now the Gilligo serial killer does have ice blue eyes. It's interesting. All the BK, him, and the new guy in Oregon all have brown hair, blue eyes. It's kind of interesting. And I'm thinking that the Ted Bundy reference is now a symbolism for that kind of look. But anyways, Chester. So the Gilligo guy was going to actually move and retire to Chester. That came in the Delphi auto rights. Also, the dolls came in the Delphi auto rights. They actually came in Delphi auto right 9 and 10. And it turns out the Gilligo guy had dolls, and it came in 2 different times. And what was interesting, and one of them talks about him sitting in his truck and watching people, or like watching women and waiting. So it's interesting. It's like, you know, a little bits and pieces of each cases and each connection. And so names and stuff like that as well. So we also noticed that this kind of blew me away. So in the Delphi auto-write, hold on, let me pull it up. I've put all this in the group so that you guys can kind of see. And I think I see the connections now because I'm used to it, but back then I didn't know and understand. So who knows how many cases and what cases we have. So I just want to pull up real quick. It seems like I also got his middle name. So his middle name is the Gilligo serial killer, allegedly. His middle name is Andrew, known for Andy. I believe I got Andrew in Delphi, but also Andy. But then it came in again in John Bonet. Well, this is all happening with John Bonet right now. So, okay. So this was autowrite 3. Delphi autowrite 3. I actually got a blondish red hair with green eyes. And she was young at this time. I was getting 18. I don't know how she is now. And the name Jesse. So now they're looking at the organ, you know, at least for 4 of them connected to a guy named Jesse. And one of his victims, of the first victim, was red hair and green eyes. Well, her hair looks literally red. I don't know if it was a wig or what, but her hair looks red in the picture they have posted. And she does have green eyes. So that was done 6 years before this ever happened. So that's that's the interesting thing about auto writing. So when you're auto writing, you're pulling in a bunch of information, which I now know and I now understand. So although I was focusing on Delphi, Spirit was giving me multiple things from multiple cases, past, present, and future. So as we go along, we're going to see more stuff in the auto writes fit. And there's probably going to be more that fits Rex. There's going to be, you know, the Gilligo serial killer, allegedly. There's going to be more that fits him, because I think I actually picked him up a lot, because I don't ever think that he was not active. Then we look at the auto rights, like the world events auto rights, and you can see where I picked up that there was going to be like a serial killer that was going to be caught in New York. I think it was like 6 or 7 or something like that. That's the world event. So the world events auto rights are a little different than the Delphi auto rights. But the reason why I started doing world events auto rights is because all of a sudden when I started doing auto writing, I started pulling in world events. Sometimes cases, but mostly world events. So that's when I do the auto writing, because that's how I get a download of information. So I didn't know that when I was doing Delphi. I just knew that I connected best when I typed. So even when we go back into the auto write that I did for BK, the very last one that I did, there can be more stuff in there. I have not gone back over that one, so I don't know. But there could be more stuff in there that's happening right now, or that will in the future, because it was an auto write. It's not necessarily, whenever I say auto writes and I'm doing auto writes for cases, not everything will fit that case. And even I notice when I'm channeling with the girls, I still pull in certain pull in certain connections and interconnects. I call them interconnects because they have to do with timing and similarities to the cases. So I will pull in names of other cases, either victim or perp, and I will tend to pull in other things as well. Like, for instance, Madeline Kingsbury, I kept pulling in a storage shed, a storage unit, when I did hers. Well, it turns out there was 2 women connected to one guy that were found in a storage unit in the same area, the same state. So I can literally pull in things from around the area if it's going to happen. Also in hers, I kept being obsessed with the river. Although I should have known Mabel, like there was stuff that I got in her reading to where she was like 4 miles from a place that he knew. You have to take bits and pieces and put the puzzle pieces together. That's how this works. Sometimes it's straightforward. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes I'll get all the more information. Sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll get bits and pieces. You got to put it together. It's all to do with the timing. So in hers, yes, she was found 4 miles from a place he knew where his grandparents were. And I kept getting like the road. So the reference to like off the road and all of that. Now, I don't know if she was in a culvert or not. I've heard she was, not sure, but that would put her in water. However, I was obsessed with the river. It turns out there was somebody found during the time that I did the reading in that river, but also about a couple weeks later, 3 people drowned in that river, and I had gotten 3 crosses by the river. So as you can see, it happened in the same state, same area, and so I picked it up as something in the future that hasn't happened yet. So I do know that it is confusing to kind of take it and understand it when we're trying to work on this specific case or a specific case. And now that I'm not like writing all my readings down, I'm not sure what's going to fit. I bet you in a lot of the other readings that I've done lives on, that I've worked with the girls on, that there are still interconnects in there of things that have not happened yet or connect to other cases. But as the autowrite said, this is a time for serial killers. I kept pulling it up in my world events. And so it turns out there's going to be a lot that come to light, either arrested or not arrested. But with DNA, I feel like there's going to be more that are arrested. So it's all based on connections. Like, we're all connected. So if we go back into the Delphi autowrites, stuff that is happening probably now and probably in the future, and maybe even a little bit in the past, will connect to that, because I feel like in autowrite 10, I don't know why, but I got it like one of the last things I got was a jogger, and we connected that to Molly. But I'm not sure if that's where it fits or not due to the timing of things. So interconnects have to do with timing, meaning that things won't like BK. Okay. So there might be things in that reading that are, going to come out. Like, for instance, I got Richard multiple times. I got Richard and Dylan. So stuff's happening with Dylan now. It was happening back then. I got Richard and John Bonet. So I know there's a lot of Richards, but I want to connect it to Delphi, because that stuff it's the timing of things. So timings and similarities of cases. Because Delphi was the way that it was, I tend to pull in serial killers, or cases that are brutal like that, or things like that. So also due to the timing, the stuff that's happening right now, which I do not know at the time. Do we look back to Stephanie Parze? Okay, Stephanie Parze got Quentin in a landfill 2 years before the kid was born. So basically, spirit confuse the heck out of me sometimes, and they take me down a different path, but it's either for validation or whatever. I can't stop it, and I'm not really sure why they work with me that way. I don't know. I don't know. I've always tried to stop the interconnects and just focus, and it's impossible. I can't do it. It's gotten less with channeling with someone, but it's still there sometimes. And when I reach into, when I'm having a hard time and I'm struggling a little bit and I'm stuck on a case, like where I'm having a hard time channeling, I tend to try to reach more, and I tend to pull in other cases. So that's another reason for that. That's why I kind of I get frustrated like you guys, because there's things that I think fit in a case and they fit another case, like the storage shed, the river. It didn't fit her, but it still fits. So regardless, whatever I get is going to fit somewhere, some shape or form, whether it be now or later. And again, it all has to do with timing. If someone's meant to be found, they're going to be found in the timing they're meant to be found in. And it's just one of those things that we're going to have to learn to understand. And I remember there was somebody that told me, she'd like to take everything that I get and put into some kind of program and see how it was, see if it's something that we could figure out. Because there's so much in Delphi. Like, literally, there's 10 autowrites. There is a lot of information there. Not everything is going to click it. I could even be picking up on a ring, but it might not be connected to Delphi, but it might be connected to Delphi. You know what I mean? So those are just some kind of examples of the way that the interconnects work. A lot of interconnects, or a lot of the reason why Delphi has so many different cases in it is because I auto wrote. So back then, again, I didn't know how auto writing works, but it basically opens me up to a bunch of different channels, and spirit will give me whatever they're going to give me, and it's usually based on timing. Like I tell people, everything happens in the time it's meant to. Like with Delphi, they always told me 5 years. They always told me October, and that's exactly what happens. 5 years in October. Well, a little over, but still. And the same thing with like BK being arrested, like the end of December. Like sometimes they will give me time frames, but the whole reason why they gave me, Richard's name up until May, and then they gave me the full name, was due to the timing of him going to be arrested in that later on that year, and they knew I probably wouldn't work on it again. So they were giving it to me as sort of a gift, I feel, because, I won't always get names. I just won't, because if I'm not meant to know the name, I won't know the name. If I'm not meant to know something, I won't know it. That's just what I've come to understand from working this. It doesn't mean I don't get frustrated. I get extremely frustrated when it comes to cases, because I want to be able to find people. I want to be able to help. That's what my huge passion is. But I am still human, and I do just connect to a different realm. I'm able to tune in the radio. It's just that I tune in the radio a little too much sometimes, and a lot of information comes in, especially when I'm auto writing. When I'm auto writing, it's like a flood of downloads. So you will see in that, if you pay attention back into Delphi, you will see a lot of the Gilligo serial killer in there, which I don't know until things happen. That's just the way it is. I'm not gonna know. There's also a R with a circle in it in that one. His work is an RH with a circle. It's pretty close. I still think that there's a truck driver out there. There's gotta be. That's one. Because a lot of that came in Delphi. So I would look to see if something like that is going to happen soon. Because now is the time with all of these cases that I got in the auto rights hitting. So again, I didn't know I was picking up Gilligo serial killer, but I was. And there's certain things in there where Spirit says, it's all connections, it's all puzzle pieces, it's far and wide. Like, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about these cases are everything having a connection. No different than, Spirit saying 7 was going to be important. Now 7 is important for justice. So this year is a 7 year. So you're going to see a lot of justice happening in old cases and cold cases, which I also had mentioned in the auto rates. Not only that, but 7 has come into play a lot this year. I think I lost track. It used to be, we've had 7 victims in multiple cases. There's just 7 everywhere. I'd like to compile a whole video, but I literally lost track of everything. So, usually if I get something, it's for a reason, and I don't usually know what it is until it comes to light. For instance, like Quentin, I didn't know. Like, I know I got the name, I know I got the landfill, but I didn't know he's going to be found. That was going to happen 2 years later. It doesn't work like that. They just give me bits and pieces to validate, because I can't stop it. I can't do anything about it, but it's all there anyways. So, when you guys have time, I bet you if you go back into the Delphi auto rates, you will see. So yes, there will be multiple cases in that. It won't just be Delphi, which is what I've tried to explain for the last couple years since we've realized how this works. It just took me a while to realize how this works. And then we have, again, the interconnects like John Bonet with Andy coming in that. Well, that whole thing with John Bonet is happening right now with the whole thing with Gilligo happening. So they're giving me the middle name, and I can get first, middle, or last. That's just how it works. And I just think it's interesting that for the last 2 days, 3 days, I've been in Chatsworth. I don't know what's going to happen there, but it also came in John Bonet's reading. So I don't know, but not everything that I get, especially in auto rights, are going to fit one place. But since I don't really auto write crime anymore, unless I really feel the need, sometimes I will feel the push to do an auto write on a case. For instance, for Idaho 4, I did do that auto write, but I explained to you guys that not everything was going to fit that case. So even though I got the mechanic, like a lot of people, they are like, well, he's not a mechanic. Yeah, but he stopped at a mechanic. He had his tires done. I could have been seeing and hearing where he was and seeing the sounds of a shop, because I was hearing the way that the tire, those tire things, that the tire gun that they use, I was hearing that. So if you're sitting and you're having your tire changed, which he was, you're going to hear that. But it's how we perceive the information. So I'm not always going to perceive it right. I'm working on not trying to guess what it means and just tell you what I'm seeing. But sometimes I do say, well, it could mean this or it could mean that. because I just see it and I don't know how it fits. I don't know if they're telling me it's his job or it's where he is or whatever. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's not clear. For instance, the case I just worked for the little boy in France, like I'm getting bits and pieces. Like I keep seeing certain things over and over. And I always tell you guys, when things repeat, it's important. So for instance, even though the Carly, I'm not going to work that case because I already posted that I was getting a hotel flashing sign and that's all I got with that. And then I didn't feel like there was anything to worry about, which now we're seeing there's not. And that was my whole reason for not getting on and saying anything about it, because I'm not about the drama. I'm about giving victims a voice. I'm not about, telling you guys, hey, yeah, it's a hoax and she's just after clout or she's got mental health. It's both. So, I didn't feel like I wanted to waste the time to come on and do that. But there is a post on my community page saying that I had a flashing motel sign. And it said that that's where she was said to be for a little bit. So allegedly. And that's all I got on that. So I knew like they weren't giving me anything else. It's not really up to me to do. And Spirit told me like the day before, I don't even know why I'm going into this, but I always try to feel guided when I talk to you guys. But Spirit told me, it was for like attention. They were telling me like the day before, like she was found or she came home or whatever. So I hope that I'm like making sense on how this works. It's really hard to explain. And I think the more that you follow me, the more you'll realize what I'm saying. But if you look at it, how I do regular auto writes for world events, I get a bunch of information. So it's the same thing when I did the Delphi auto writes, I got a bunch of information. Sure, Delphi is in there. And that's why I did more focus read later on, because I was realizing, hey, I'm getting all these other cases and stuff. It's interesting. I'm wondering if the redheaded murders isn't in there, because there was a lot of talk about redheads in that. Excuse me. In that reading. So there's probably multiple serial killers and multiple bigger cases that I picked up there, if you go back and look. So you kind of got to connect the dots and draw that red line to everything. So, geez, I'm coughing. I don't know what's going on all of a sudden. Probably because I'm talking about this. But when I did a lot of Delphi work, I actually got attacked a lot by the dark energies and stuff, because they wanted me to stop, because I knew too much about everything in the dark. So I was trying to be stopped. So that's why I stopped Delphi after so many auto writes. Now we understand how the auto writes work. So when I'm asked to do an auto write, it's going to I'll probably try to focus on one thing, but other things will come in. This is the same thing when I'm typing and doing cases for people, and we're doing it through chat. I will more than likely get, that not everything will fit. We just have to kind of take what fits. What I always tell people, take what fits and hang on to the rest, because I don't get things for no reason. They're going to fit somewhere. I always say I'm not going to ever be 100%. I have a pretty high accuracy rate, but I'm never going to be 100% because I'm a human. It doesn't work like that. And I'm going to have my off days and things that, I get frustrated too, you guys. So I won't know everything. I only know what Spirit shows me. We'll never know everything about everything. We still have to have those times in life where we have to be surprised. Although we can know a lot, and there are good psychics out there that know a lot, and they know a lot of details and things like that. Like, we're all gifted differently, but I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not going to be. But I still think that, and the information that I get will fit somewhere at some point, which I'm learning with Delphi, because, when he got arrested, and I was like, well, where does all this other stuff fit? Well, now stuff's starting to hit, and it's hitting Rex, and it's hitting the guy in Oregon. And there's probably more. I mean, we'd have to go through it and see if anything else is fitting, but it seems that I was in that guy's head a little bit. And so there we have it. And as far as John Bidet, everything that I got matches who they're looking at, and I hope that they take a bigger look at that. But especially names, I'm always nervous to say names, because they don't always fit that case. They can be connections and stuff like that, but sometimes they're future cases or past cases, and it can be perp or victim. But now we kind of understand how my gifts work. It has to do with timing, it has to do with similar cases. They usually fit somewhere, and we might not always know where it fits because it's really hard to go through everything and match everything up. But whatever I can find, I will post and let you guys know where it fits and how it fits. And you guys can do that too. You know, if you go back through the auto writes and you're like, you know what, this stuff right here matches this. You guys find that? That's great. Send it to me. I love to know because validation is always wonderful. But interconnects have to do, again, with timing and similarities of cases. So cases happening around the same time, similarities of it, stuff like that. And so I hope that I've given you guys some examples of the interconnects that I've noticed and that I understand. And hopefully you guys can understand it now. I don't know if I'm explaining right. I'm feeling a little like whenever I try to talk to you guys about this kind of stuff, I end up channeling. I end up tapping in, and it drains me. Even these videos drain me. So I am behind on everything. I appreciate your guys' patience. I'm behind on my YouTube. I'm behind on Patreon. I'm behind on keychains and questions and all that. We will do the raffle still, I promise. I'm just with my mom and having to take her to Tucson 2 days in a row and everything. And just the heat is draining the hell out of me. So I am behind, but I will catch up. I promise you guys that. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate your love, support, you subscribing. And if you have any questions about this that I can answer, let me know. I did do a live before this video, and I did kind of talk about all of this. So if you're still kind of confused at the fact that Delphi auto-writes say Delphi, it's just because I tried to do them on Delphi, but they will hit multiple cases, just like my world events do. It'll work the same way. Like it will hit multiple things. The way my world events, because my world events are always auto-written, it will work the same way with the Delphi auto-writes or anything else that I auto-write. There will be other cases. It will interconnect, and it will have to do with the timing, if that makes sense. So anytime I auto-write, don't expect it to all fit the case I'm trying to auto-write, although I do try to make it that way. I can't think of any other, I'm sure there's more examples. I just can't think of any right now. Didn't want to make this video too long. It's already 32 minutes. You know me, I jibber jabber. So again, if you have any more questions, I'll try to make videos to answer them, but hopefully that explains it the best that it can. I just want you guys to know that you're very much appreciated and loved.